What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Educated Barfly. Today we're making a cocktail called the Bacardi Cocktail. I have a bunch to say about this. What?
This is the second cocktail today that's called what it contains.
So, oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's right. You know, we did the Applejack before this, and now we're doing the Bacardi Cocktail. You find that in old cocktail books a lot. They'll just be like the vodka cocktail, you know, the Applejack cocktail, the Bacardi cocktail.
This is the first time I think we've ever done one that's called what it's made of.
And then we did two.
And then we did two in a row.
So you're acting like it's a conspiracy, though.
I don't know.
So, okay, here's the thing. This is called the Bacardi Cocktail for a pretty good reason. And we're going to get into that reason after we make the drink. But I will say that this is an adapted recipe. This isn't the original recipe. This cocktail also goes by the name Cuban number 2. And you'll find out a little why. And it obviously has to use Bacardi Carta Blanca if it's called the Bacardi Cocktail. All right, let's make the drink, and then we'll talk about the history a little bit, and then you'll be like, oh, I see why it's called that. All right. So first thing we're going to do is 3/4 of an ounce of lime juice. We're going to do 3/4 of an ounce of grenadine. We're going to do 1/2 ounce of gin. We're going to use a London Dry's. I was going to say London Dry's finest, but that's not true. We're going to use this very fine London Dry gin. Beefeater is one of my favorites, and it's, you know, low cost, high quality. One of my absolute faves. And then we're going to do 1.5 ounces of Bacardi Carta Blanca.
I'm sure Beefeater agrees with you.
I'm sure they agree with me too, yeah. I mean, there are other gins that I love, but, you know, for London Dry gin, quality, bang for your buck, it's Beefeater. And it's so versatile in cocktails. You can put it in a lot of different drinks in it, and it sings. All right, we're gonna add our cocktail to our tin. Give it a nice hard shake. Give it a nice strain. I usually say give it a nice strain, and then I just got mesmerized by the straining. And I was like, ooh. Here we go, let's take a sip. Ooh, oh yeah, that's good. I'm gonna do that too, because I was supposed to have done that, and then I didn't. So, you know, it's a take on a gin. It's a take on a sour, right? And actually, some would say that it's a take on a daiquiri. You got your lime juice. Grenadine kind of provides like a nice kind of savory sweetness to it. It kind of gives it that fall edge. But what's really interesting here is that 1/2 ounce of gin kind of adds this botanical element that's really, really nice. And then you have that 1.5 ounces of rum. So you have this nice, like, kind of botanical edge to it, but then kind of rounding out in with the rum. Even though this is white rum, it is actually a blend of some aged rums and then filtered through charcoal to strip the color. So there is some age to it. I don't have all of the specs on the Bacardi, so I'm just going to stop right there. So this cocktail emerged around 1917 in Cuba, and there are really two schools of thought about how it emerged. The first school of thought says that it was just a daiquiri. It didn't have grenadine in it, and the grenadine was added to the cocktail when it emerged in New York City sometime after Prohibition. The second school of thought says that the grenadine was there at inception, and that it doesn't really make sense that it's just a daiquiri with Bacardi and call it a Bacardi cocktail, because most daiquiris were made with Bacardi at that time. At that time, Bacardi was a Cuban rum, and they didn't actually leave Cuba until Fidel Castro took power, and then they went to Puerto Rico, which is where they're made now. According to Simon Difford, though, the former argument probably wins, because there are a ton of vintage cocktail books that have recipes for a Bacardi cocktail, which do not contain any grenadine. That being said, I really love the grenadine version of it. I think the grenadine just adds such a nice kind of fall flavor to it. And this recipe that I did with the gin is an adapted recipe. So the original recipe is only 2 ounces of rum and doesn't contain this little split of gin, but I just thought that it was so good with this gin and gave such an interesting botanical touch that I really wanted to do it. So there you have it, guys, the Bacardi Cocktail. If you like our channel, please hit like and subscribe. Check us out on Patreon and YouTube memberships. We've got some cool stuff going on there. We've got a virtual bottle program at theeducatedbarfly.com. So if you want to help our channel out a little bit, that's a good way to do it. Yeah, check us out at Teespring. We got some cool t-shirts there. If you like our aprons, you can check them out at staggerlygoods.com. They make some really fantastic handmade aprons, all in-house, really beautiful stuff, worth checking out. I will see you guys on another time.